Austria has finally been confirmed as the tentative start for Formula One's 2020 season, with July 3 to 5 penciled in at the Red Bull Ring, and expectations of a 15 to 18 round championship. F1 has been in a holding pattern, with the world shut down during the COVID-19 pandemic. But with nations starting to reopen for business, the sport has begun to plan its provisional return to the grid. At this stage, F1's dream zone-based calendar comes to fruition, albeit under exceptional circumstances, with Austria part of a European tour before flying to Eurasia, Asia, the Americas, and the Gulf. And while early races will be held behind closed doors, F1 Chairman and CEO Chase Carey says it's safety first. "We will only go forward if we are confident we have reliable procedures to address both risks and possible issues," he said. McLaren's Lando Norris has shown he can rule both sides of the Atlantic in sim racing, with the 20-year-old winning on IndyCar debut in the series iRacing Challenge at Austin's Circuit of the Americas last Saturday. Norris, on pole by almost 0.4 of a second, pulled away at the start, knowing the circuit well from F1, but had it all to do again after he spun at the exit of the final corner following his first of 2 pit stops.
Whoa, he's got a spin, so that's really going to hurt him.
He's gone around, exiting turn 20, right on the front straight before the finish line.
Give the opportunity for
Norris fought back through the field and retook the lead 4 laps from home when rival Felix Rosenqvist spun.
Whoa! Rosenqvist!
The Brit finished ahead of his Arrow McLaren SP teammate Pato O'Ward.
Lando Norris for Arrow McLaren SP wins at Circuit of the Americas.
Norris was overjoyed to win, but not with his spin.
And I just got too eager on the throttle out the last corner, and as you go over the crest, the car just got a bit light, and I lost it. I lost it once, and I corrected it and saved it, but then the tire temp was too high. I went on throttle again, and then I completely lost it.
Haas driver Romain Grosjean may be at home right now, but he's still earning podiums, with his new R8G sim racing team finishing second on debut in the iRacing Nürburgring 24 Hours. The squad, racing in the Porsche Cup category, led until the night phase, when contact with a rival forced them into the pits for repairs. Second, the best possible result, with the 911 GT3 carrying damage. Grosjean's new venture is a collaboration with management and esports outfit AAA, and hopes to see racers cross over into motorsport with an initial chance to compete in the X30 World Championship event at Le Mans via its partnership with Praga Karts. But the Swiss-French F1 driver, speaking exclusively to the inside line, has even greater ambitions for his R8G sim racing team.
You know, by trying to bring the drivers to go-karting and why not Formula 4, or see if we can actually get our best drivers on the sim into real life and see if they get a chance to become, you know, one day, why not a Formula 1 driver? That'd be amazing to find young talents via eSIM.
Sebastian Vettel's future at Ferrari remains a hot topic. But negotiations for the German to stay beyond 2020 continue behind the scenes, with reports saying he's facing a 1-year deal and slashed salary. Vettel's current contract sees him allegedly paid $30 million for 2020, with teammate Charles Leclerc said to be on a third of that, despite outscoring him last season, including 2 wins to 1. Leclerc also sits high atop the prancing horse with a 5-year contract and the #1 status, which Vettel will need to accept. It's rumored Vettel is happy to accept a lower salary, but wants the Scuderia to compromise with the stability of a longer tenure. "Normally the contracts I've had in the past were all 3-year deals," he said. "I know I'm one of the more experienced drivers in Formula 1, but I'm not the oldest." F1's power brokers continue to work behind the scenes to safeguard the sport during the COVID-19 crisis. but emergency tightening of next year's incoming cost cap is proving a challenge. The cost cap is currently set to begin at $175 million US, but there is now huge pressure on all concerned to reduce that figure, with the most likely outcome $150 million, but some teams want to go further. One option put forward was to start in 2021 at $145 million, with another drop as the new regulations come in to $130 million, which is less than 90% of the grid's 2019 budgets. But while Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto says a $145 million cap is the lowest it could accept, a new clause in the FIA International Sporting Code could force it through. With just a majority agreement needed now to make rule changes in exceptional circumstances, should the FIA deem the amendment to be essential to safeguard the championship. It's reported that some teams have already received advance payments from Liberty Media to see them through the COVID-19 crisis. Haas team principal Günther Steiner has backed the sport's decision to delay its new era regulations to 2022, but not beyond. The Italian stating exclusively to the Inside Line that it's an achievable target.
In the moment, I'm in favor of having the new car in 22, because at some stage we need to make the step, otherwise we talk about it and never do it, and that's not credible in my opinion. Sure, if something changes in the world economically, we can always rethink it.
The 10 teams rejected an additional delay to 2023 earlier this month, with existing cost-cutting measures including an extended shutdown and use of the current chassis into next season. And while it's a moving target, with AlphaTauri boss Franz Tost revealing each missed Grand Prix could cost his team up to €2 million in lost revenue, Steiner says the sport is doing all it can.
I think they did the obvious move, and there is never a right move on things like this. You just have to work by the day. They did a diligent job, not to take any risk. We are talking a lot, trying to get the budget cut down. That all the teams are here for the long term, which is very important to all of us.
McLaren expects its 2021 car to be compromised, given the restrictions it has agreed with F1 governing body the FIA on the way that it can install its new Mercedes power unit. McLaren will be the only team on the grid next year with a new power unit partnership, with the Woking squad choosing to go ahead with its planned switch from Renault to Mercedes, despite the delay of F1's new era cars until 2022. But with the rest of the grid set to rerun their 2020 chassis and other components, McLaren will be limited in what it can do.
We have agreed together with FA that they will monitor very closely that we are only allowed to do the changes that are absolutely necessary to install the Mercedes power unit. So they will monitor closely that we don't touch any other areas in the surroundings of the power unit, which will give us, let's say, additional performance gains.
Mercedes has put forward Bahrain 2014 to be its most dominant showing in F1's hybrid era, with the Silver Arrows holding back on horsepower but still on pole, with Nico Rosberg more than 3/4 of a second up on his nearest non-Mercedes rival.
In qualifying, we were actually not qualifying the cars in maximum power, but we were still on pole by 0.8 of a second, I think. And even in the race, I don't think we've ever had such a big performance margin since then.
No, I mirror that view. The car was exceptional around Bahrain in 2014. As Shov said, the power unit was really singing, and we didn't use anything near like the maximum power of it. We turned it up a tiny amount in qualifying and held some back in the race as well. The car there was at its most competitive.
That searing pace ensured a 2-horse race between pole sitter Rosberg and teammate Lewis Hamilton, and those horses bolted, with the duel in the desert a race-long fight for supremacy. The pair diced for the lead enough for the squad to warn against contact, the battle now seen as the first flashpoint in the Rosberg-Hamilton war, with the Brit taking first blood and the race win.
There were obviously tense moments for us on the pit wall as well. We were, worried that they weren't going to give each other enough room. But it was great racing. They both drove impeccably, didn't put a wheel wrong, and that was actually quite easy. I think it was more that it was relatively early in the period where we were successful, where we were dominating races, and it was more that thereafter there were a few notable incidents where they did come together on track.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.